You've heard of Santa Claus, right? The jolly man in red who brings gifts to good little boys and girls. But what if I told you there's another figure who visits during the festive season? One who doesn't carry a bag full of toys, but an empty sack for the naughty children. This is the story of Krampus, the Christmas demon, deep in the snow-covered villages of the European Alps. Long before the modern image of a smiling Santa Claus became famous, a very different legend took root in the cold winter nights. People didn't just look forward to the holidays. They also feared a terrifying visitor known as Krampus. Imagine a creature straight out of a nightmare, half goat, half demon. He has massive curling horns like a mountain goat, dark, shaggy fur, and a long, pointed tongue that lolls from his mouth. His feet are cloven hooves, and instead of sleigh bells you hear the ominous rattle of heavy chains and rusted cowbells that he drags behind him. This is not a bringer of joy. Krampus is the shadow of Saint Nicholas, and his job is to punish the wicked. For centuries, the legend has been told this way, as the kind and gentle Saint Nicholas traveled from house to house on the evening of December 5th, which is known as Krampusnacht, or Krampus Night. He wasn't alone. Following silently in his wake was Krampus. While Saint Nick rewarded the well-behaved children with apples, nuts, and sweets, Krampus had a different purpose. He sought out the naughty, the misbehaved, the children who lied, cheated, or disobeyed their parents. His methods were far from gentle. In his hand he carries a bundle of birch branches, which he uses to swat the backs of naughty children. It was a stark and painful reminder of their misdeeds. But for the truly wicked, a much darker fate was said to await them. Krampus would stuff them into the large sack or basket he carried on his back. Once trapped, he would carry them away from their homes, down into his fiery lair, deep within the mountains, to be punished for their sins, with some versions of the legend saying they were never to be seen again. This story might sound incredibly harsh to us today, but for parents in old-world Alpine regions it served a very important purpose. It wasn't just a scary bedtime story. It was a powerful morality tale, a way to teach children about consequences. Good behavior was rewarded with gifts and celebration, but bad behavior brought the terrifying prospect of a visit from Krampus. The legend reinforced a clear line between right and wrong, reminding everyone that goodness brings gifts, while evil brings punishment. The origins of Krampus are ancient, possibly predating Christianity itself. Historians believe he might have evolved from pagan horned gods of the wilderness, figures that represented the untamed and chaotic forces of nature during the harsh winter months. When Christianity spread across Europe, many of these old traditions were either suppressed or absorbed into new holidays. Krampus, it seems, was too powerful a figure to simply disappear. Instead, he was integrated into the Christmas folklore, becoming the dark companion to the light and goodness of Saint Nicholas. What's fascinating is that this isn't just some forgotten piece of history. The legend of Krampus is very much alive. In countries like Austria, Germany, Hungary, Slovenia, and the Czech Republic, the tradition of the Krampuslauf or Krampus Run is still celebrated with great enthusiasm. Every year, in early December, towns and villages come alive with these parades. Hundreds of people, mostly young men, dress up in elaborate, terrifying Krampus costumes. These aren't cheap Halloween outfits. We're talking intricate, hand-carved wooden masks with menacing expressions, heavy suits made of real sheep or goat skin, and massive, noisy bells tied around their waists. They roam the streets, sometimes with torches chasing after spectators, playfully swatting people with their birch sticks and creating a wonderfully chaotic and thrilling spectacle. It is a way for communities to connect with their heritage and keep this ancient tradition alive for a new generation. It's a primal, exciting, and slightly scary celebration that bridges the gap between the ancient pagan world and modern festivities. So this winter, when you're wrapped up warm inside, listening to carols and waiting for Santa, you might hear a faint jingling sound outside. Before you get too excited, listen a little closer. Is it the gentle, cheerful sound of sleigh bells? Or is it the heavy, rhythmic clanking of chains? Because it might not be Santa Claus coming to town. It might be someone else checking his own list, and you'd better hope you haven't been naughty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dark dive into folklore, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.